Hey guys, we're getting ready to finish up the last little bit of Mark chapter 13. And all throughout this chapter, Jesus has been telling them about the judgment on and the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple. How that they would know that it is near. It's like going outside and seeing the leaves on the trees. You know that summer is near. And the same thing would be when they see all these things, talking about the abomination of desolation standing where it ought not. Or as Luke 21:20 says, when they see the armies surrounding Jerusalem, they would know that talking about one stone being left upon another, it is near, it is at the door. In fact, Jesus goes on to say that all this stuff, all these things would take place in that generation. And we know that from about 40 years from the time that Jesus says this, that Jerusalem would be sieged and the temple would be destroyed. And so Jesus is going to transition from a judgment where he says you will know, that there will be signs for, to a judgment where no one will know, that there will be no signs for. So let's pick up in verse 32. It says, "But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Take heed, watch, and pray, for you do not know when the time is. It is like a man going to a faraway country who left his house and gave authority to his servants to each his work, and commanded the doorkeeper to watch. Watch therefore, for you do not know when the master of the house is coming, in the evening, at midnight, at the crowing of the rooster in the morning, lest coming suddenly he find you sleeping. And what I say to you, I say to all, watch." Jesus had finished out the last section of verse 31 by saying heaven and earth would pass away, but his words would not. And then he says, "But of that day and hour no one knows." And so what day and hour? Well, you notice that he had called the days of the destruction of Jerusalem, he called them those days. And now he's saying that day and hour. Previously, he had said that they would know, and now he's saying that no one knows. And so what is he talking about? Well, Jesus symbolically did come back in judgment on Jerusalem. But that would foreshadow a much greater judgment when Jesus would literally come back and judge all nations. And of that judgment, of that day and hour, no one would know, not even the Son, but only the Father. And if Jesus doesn't even know, what makes us think that we can? So if we don't know when Jesus is returning, what does that mean for us? We need to watch, pray. We need to always be ready. He uses this parable about this doorkeeper who's been commanded to keep watch because his master has gone on a faraway journey. And he's given his house and his possessions and his job over to his servants. And they don't know when he's going to return. And if he has no idea when his master is going to come back, that means he always needs to be awake and alert and keeping watch for his master. So here's what we should take from this. If we don't know when our master, Jesus, is returning, there's no sign, there's no way to predict it, then we need to always be awake. In other words, we need to be alert and ready for Jesus to return at all times. And so what that means is I need to live in such a way that I'm always ready to stand before Jesus in judgment. And so let me ask you this. How would you feel if Jesus returned right in this moment? Would you be nervous? Would you be devastated? It wouldn't matter to you when Jesus returns if you're always ready. So here's the facts. Jesus will be returning. And there will be some people who are ready, and they'll be headed to heaven. And there will be some people who are not, and they'll be devastated. So my question is, are you ready?